Okay, welcome everyone to my interview today with Gary Vaynerchuck. Big Gary V fan. Gary's been on our advisory board for a long time. Honored to have him there. Been a keynote speaker twice at Inbound, written for our blog. He is CEO of Vayner Media, a YouTube star, social media icon. Every time I chat with Gary, I learn new stuff. So super excited to have him on. Gary, welcome.
Right now, and I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's give them some
Hey,
content.
hey! Most importantly, Pats are playing the Jets on October 15th. How are we feeling about that outcome?
I'm feeling tremendous because I'm going for 0-16. That is my prediction for the New York Jets this year, and so I feel like that game will follow the pattern of last year where the Patriots blew the Jets out after years of tough games, and so I think we will be in a classic 41-6 Patriots victory, which under normal circumstances is devastating, but very on strategy for me this year.
Okay, our incentives are aligned. Let's
Fine.
let's Gary, let's talk about Facebook. What do you think Zuckerberg and those folks over what have they done so well in the last, call it 5 years? They're on fire.
Mark, Cheryl, the rest of that team, the product people, Carolyn, all of them, uh, they have continuously put themselves out of business. And what I mean by that, right, is that they have continued to iterate. They adjusted to mobile, they adjusted to video, they listen to the market, and they look at big data and make decisions on the product. They make some intuitive decisions. They make decisions that are unpopular. Uh, they, if you take it all the way to Instagram, throw Kevin Systrom and his team, they don't care what you and I think about them copying features from Snapchat. The same way that in the consumer packaged goods space, if somebody figures out that people like mint chocolate chip flavor, every competitor starts making mint chocolate. Features are not patents and or patentable, or normally aren't. And so what they have done is everything I believe in, which is moved quickly, especially considering their size. Never rested on their laurels. What got them there is the exact thing that will make them lose in the future. You think about the amount of things Facebook did from 2009 to 2015, from 2011 to 2015 for all us in social media historians. Think about what Facebook did as a business from 2011 to 15 on the product and what Twitter did from 2011 to 2015. Twitter did zero. Zero.
Yeah.
Same product 2011 that it was in 15.
Yep.
And that led to its vulnerabilities. Facebook changed time and time again. Remember when everybody went up in arms that created a news feed? Because you used to go to people's, the news feed is their business. It's a $1 trillion business. And people started pages to like 1 million people they don't, they're run properly, which is you listen to your users, you adjust to that feedback, but you have vision to where you're going. And they're about to do the same thing with original programming. It's going to work. There's too many eyeballs. There's too many technology shifts in the future. I really think you should put yourself out of business before somebody else does it. That's what they do. They are not going to allow somebody to come along and do to MySpace what they did to them.
Sure.
They're not going to let somebody else do that to them.
Sure. You brought up a couple other social networks. So let's just say you're a 20-person company, you're running marketing for that company, you're strapped for time, you've got Facebook, you've got Instagram, you've got Snapchat, you've got Twitter, you've got LinkedIn, you're in a B2B market, you're trying to grow.
B2B.
Where do you spend your time?
B2B.
Yeah.
You spend your time, if I'm doing that, if I'm selling a SaaS product, you always want to be a brand because then people come to you.
Yep.
One thing I admire about you guys, if I could take a second to give you a commercial, you and your partners, I thought from afar when we didn't know each other, when we met at a restaurant in Midtown, I was like, oh, these guys actually understand content creation.
Yeah.
They're producing events and value to their users. There's a halo effect to that, which is going to be impactful in their business. I don't think there's anybody remotely close in my competitive landscape who was more obsessed with giving away free information than I was.
Yep.
There was no seminars or ebook. I just wanted to bring value, and if I was going to be right and I brought the most information, it would work out, and it has, and it will continue to. And so, first, I want every B2B company to think of themselves as a media company,
Okay.
so that people come to them. I would probably, believe it or not, probably start a podcast, a weekly show. If I'm selling a SaaS product in the ad tech space, I'm probably starting a show called This Week in Advertising, and brought to you by Tim Tech, right?
Yep.
And my first guess is probably somebody who is in the TV advertising space that has nothing to do with, programmatic info, right? I'm trying to bring value to the overall market, not my product. I'm not doing an infomercial.
Yep.
And you guys have done that well. You don't do infomercials for HubSpot. You're in the game of it and it trickles.
Yep.
So we're building a brand. I think that's what I'm building. That's what I think everybody else should be doing. So first and foremost, whether through audio, video, or written word, I would create a medium, a media company, a newspaper magazine, a radio station, a radio show, a television show, make a CNBC show, make a Wall Street Journal competitor, make a radio show that competes with Dave Ramsey or in your genre.
Sure.
Then I would take the hour of that, let's say it's a podcast, and I would hire people to cut the audio and make videos of images behind the sound. I would hire a copywriter to transcribe 3 or 4 of the pieces that were most interesting in the show and create blog, Medium, and LinkedIn posts.
Yep.
And that's what I've done. If you've noticed, you've watched me for a long time.
Yep.
Not that you're watching every day, but my intuition is you're aware that probably over the last year or so, year and a half, it's accelerated dramatically. And it's because I realized if I make I have 2 core shows, the Ask Gary Vee show and Daily Vee. One is a show Q&A, one's a blog, and it's documenting. That became the funnel for all my content. I'm producing more social content than ever because I'm DJing the assets of the monster content. If you're a small 20-person company, that's more efficient. You're creating more and more impact, bringing more value to the system, and selling more stuff ultimately.
Okay, so your advice is be a media company. Let's talk about media. You've got audio these days, video, text. What's your advice sort of on the balance? It feels to me the world has shifted big time to video. Is text dead?
No.
Okay.
The written word is forever.
Okay.
Right? Audio is forever, and video is forever.
Okay.
And so, no, it is not dead. It's just not maybe in its hyper moment the way it was in 2003. In the same way as this is podcast's second go around.
Yeah.
And it did a hell of a lot better this time than it did, right? Remember?
Yep.
Audio and, like Wine Library TV was called a video podcast because podcasting was getting going in 2004, 5, 6.
Yep. Yep.
So no, text is not. As a matter of fact, I would argue that written word, again, I always say, don't listen to me. Watch what I'm doing.
Yep.
Why am I writing full 25-sentence posts on Facebook? Because it's working.
Yeah.
Like, listen, from cavemen to the robots that will ultimately kill us, the written word, sound, and video are the platforms. They go through ebbs and flows, but people should triple down on what they're good at.
Talk about that. Talk about that. Because some people think work on your weaknesses. It sounds like you don't think that. It's like lean into your strengths.
I think
what if you don't have a strength in video creation? You're a 20-person company, you got one marketer, and geez, that marketer grew up in PR and writing stuff. Like, what do you do?
She or he should write their asses off, and they should hire a post-production video editor to take those written words and make them into video content.
Yep.
I believe I'll use music. We are in the era of DJing, right? I don't know your music taste, Brad. I know a lot of other people think EDM's music, people don't. People think hip hop is music, people don't. Here's what I know. Creating original songs and being able to DJ them with different beats and different genres are both equally phenomenally important. You can be DJ Khaled, you can be Drake. They both matter. Figure it out, but bet on your strengths, because when somebody who has 22 years in copywriting PR decides that he is now some phenomenal Instagram meme maker, they get exposed.
Yep.
And then they start shitting on all these new things because they're fearful of it, instead of surrounding themselves, right?
Yep.
And so look, I can literally talk an entire book out in one breath.
Yes, you can.
But I can't write two sentences together coherently. So in January, when Crushing It comes out, it will be my 5th New York Times bestselling book. I find that laughable for a man who can't write 3 sentences together. It's because I created infrastructure in Stephanie Land, my ghostwriter, and I am betting on my strengths of video and talking, gift of gab, and I'm producing. I'm the #1 followed person on Medium.
Yep.
I can't write.
Yep.
I have Colin Campbell, who's a beast in transcribing me. He'll listen. I'm filming this right now. He may listen. He may want to write an article. He'll pitch me, hey, let's do betting on your strengths. He'll transcribe everything here, but he'll be missing some stuff. He'll call me and interview me as if you or Fast Company for 4 more questions that give more me, and then I speak in first person in a blog post.
Got it. Okay, lean into your strengths. Got it. You are a master of...
Hold on real quick. I apologize.
No problem.
But surround your weaknesses. Just because you're awesome at video creation doesn't mean you should punt the written word. So maybe, you get somebody who's entry level and young, and maybe they're not as great as you want them to be, but everybody watching this right now should be producing content on all 3 key pillars: the written word, audio, and video. But they, as the lead captain, need to be putting their energy on the one that they're best at.
Got it. Social, okay. Created the content, leaned into my strengths, got other people to help me with my weaknesses. Where do I spend my energy? Whether it's my personal energy or interns or people helping me out. Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, still Twitter. Let's just say you're getting started today in marketing and you're building a social media brand. Where are you spending your energy if you're that marketer?
To speak in general terms, to bring the most value to that question, and I'll go into nuances, you can't be alive in the game without a Facebook and an Instagram. I genuinely believe that.
Yeah.
I think it would be highly detrimental. If you're a brand that is trying to reach 30-year-old and under, I believe then you would add Snapchat immediately into it.
Yeah.
If you want to build for the long term, I believe you can't live without Twitter, because it's the only place where you can still community manage and you can build real affinity and real depth.
Yep.
And you can also culture hack and find your moments. So if you're looking to build a 10-year business, Twitter becomes imperative, but Twitter's the least sales push of the platforms. So there's that. And I also think that at this point, I just don't like the idea of not having either. I'll be honest, knowing your audience pretty well, I don't think we can. I think the same way there was a point where you and I decided that you had to have a website.
Yep.
There was a point in time where you and I decided they needed to have a blog, and there was a point in time where we thought you had to have a social media account.
Yep.
I think I'm on the verge of believing that it is unacceptable for a modern day business to not have a show. I mean this, either a call-in show, and as you can see by all the personalities, the interview show is the easiest, right?
Yep.
What you're doing now is a piece of cake.
Yep.
You ask 3 questions and you let the person, right? And everybody can do that. Everybody can become the B2B magazine 2020 of their industry.
Yeah.
How many people, Brian, who are watching right now are wasting tons of money on booths at trade shows that if they took that same money and hired a sound engineer and a crafty entrepreneurial kid could have the leading podcast in their sector and have everybody listening to it, which is all but 900 people, yet that means they can get all the talent to come and work for them. They can get customers. So I think I'm at a place now where I would challenge everybody that if you don't have minimally a monthly show, for me, if you really have ambition, a weekly show.
Yep.
Not everybody is narcissistic enough at this point to have somebody following them around like I do to do a blog.
Sure.
But everybody can interview.
Got it. Gary, let's talk about Facebook itself. You have, I believe, have mastered the medium. What advice do you give on leveraging Facebook as a platform as a marketer today? And I want to hear about that, and then we'll talk about messaging apps.
Oh, great. So I think Facebook is a place where, first of all, everybody needs to understand their ad product is grossly underpriced. If we're having this, yeah, still, and I'll get into the nuances of why I believe that. If this was Google 2002, I'd be sitting here and be like, guys, AdWords is underpriced.
Yep.
Like, Forget about long tail. Even the core words are probably underpriced because it's a game of alternatives if you spend ad dollars.
Yep.
Facebook CPMs might be higher. It's just, what are you going to do with that $1,000?
Yep.
Right? So if you're in the direct response business, Google still really matters. Intent-based marketing really matters. But you can get some of those nuances. You can get 80% of that on Facebook, and you get 100% branding on Facebook.
Yep.
I think people, to make it simple, I think everybody has to think about Facebook as the birth child between television and direct mail. If you do that, you're in the right mindset of why it's special. The reason I think I've done well is because I've made that religious belief in the platform. I know that I can reach, I'm a practitioner, so I know how the ad product and the segmentation works. I know that I can run a piece of content against employees of companies. So if I want to win in real estate, I can run ads against employees of Keller Williams. I mean, there's just so much you can do. It's crazy. People are so naive. And I make content that brings people value. I think most of the content you see today is selfish. And I make selfless content, which is, it's selfless in the short term, it's selfish in the macro. I'm playing for legacy and long-term wealth, not for, for sales and short-term dollars, right? So the content I'm making isn't to convert you into a funnel to transact on, it's to build a relationship and bring value over the long term. And I think it's why I do well on the stage. There to kind of innuendo you into my services like so many speakers do.
Yep.
I'm there to be historically correct so I can look back and be like, see, I told you so, and trade on that. And so I would say selfless content. Do you know how many people that are watching this that should know more about Facebook and don't because they're headline readers?
Yep.
They're not real practitioners.
Yep.
They haven't spent real money on the platform. They don't really understand.
Let me interrupt you for a second.
Please.
What if you don't have a lot of money? Can you still make Facebook work for you? Or is it, gosh, it's just it's more pay to play and it's just too hard to do it now?
If you don't have money, you have time and hustle, and it means you don't have money for Google or television or radio either. So it's the reality of business, right? To me, it's about what alternatives can you make? Yeah, I mean, look, to me, I think you start reaching out, becoming part of the community, asking people with big fan pages to share your content so you start building organically. But to me, listen, I think you can do real damage for $1,000 a month on Facebook. I really do.
Yep.
I think you'll probably lose $5,000 for 5 months in a row figuring it out.
Yep.
But I do think that there's something there. So yeah, look, I mean, you know this, every medium is pay to play. Blogging, content marketing, something you guys were iconic in. When everybody started throwing up bloggers and WordPresses, was it pay to play? I guess. I mean, if you had money to bring awareness to your blog, you probably did better and got bigger faster. But could you be just great at it and eventually be found? Of course. Merit has a spot in this game forever.
Okay. Let me try something on you. It feels to me that over the last 5 years, the role of organic and paid is shifting a bit. So for example,
it has.
5 years ago, you write a great blog post and you can get found in Google. Now, if you do a Google search on your mobile phone, which is most of the places you're doing Google searches, the whole darn page is paid ads.
Yep.
You do a great post on Facebook, you really need to post it. Like the world has become, it feels to me the world is becoming a little trickier to be a small business in.
1,000%.
Yes.
Yes. Now let's talk about a couple ways. Number one, first of all, I want to do this because I want to bring value to people watching. Everybody talks about boosting. I just want to make sure that everybody, because it's just what we got used to, and I don't know how you're referring to it, just want to make sure everybody understands. I don't want to boost posts so I get more likes. I want to plan ads before we post the content so that people who I want to see it, see it. It's a huge nuance, Brian. There's a lot of people boosting to get more likes so they feel good about themselves.
Yep.
I want to target 41 to 44-year-old men who love the Knicks and make a Patrick Ewing joke in the copy to make my transaction. Got it?
Yep.
That's number one. Number two, that's right. Let me tell you where else this has happened. Every other medium in the history of time. I don't know your history just because I don't know it when it comes to email. But email was super fun for me at first because in 1996, I had 91% open rates.
Yep.
I don't have 91% open rates on winelibrary.com anymore.
Yep. I bet you don't.
Internet advertising. in 1997, 8. I used to be able to get people to put up a wine library banner for free because they thought it was cool.
Yep.
Not so much anymore.
Yep.
Influencer marketing, super fun for me 6 years ago. $100 got me enormous awareness. Not so much anymore. People asking for 50,000.
Yep.
It is always supply and demand of being right. There's enormous opportunity in voice right now. Build Alexa skills for your business. You'll be one of the people that has it in your industry. People will download it. Guess what's going to happen? When everybody has an Alexa skill in 6 years, it's going to be harder. So absolutely. Why do you think I was yelling at everybody so loudly in 2009 to take advantage of social media? I knew it would get more expensive.
Yep. Okay, I think we're about out of time. What I want to do is thank you very much for your time and your energy and your passion you bring to this whole endeavor. It's inspiring. And I want to invite everyone to come tomorrow. One of my old professors, Sinan Arrow from MIT, who's just a brilliant guy and the nicest guy on the planet, he's going to be talking about his latest research on what's going on in social media. So join us tomorrow. Thanks, everyone, for coming.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.